Washington State receiver Kyle Williams is an explosive playmaker in the 2025 NFL Draft, and he can be a three-level threat at the next level. Kyle Williams is 5'10 and 5'8", 190, just a 6.35 RAS, but did run the 4.440, which I do think shows up on film. In 2024, it really was his breakout season, 1,196 yards, 14 touchdowns, 2.71 yards per route run, and a whopping 8.4 yards after the catch per reception. Dominated against man coverage in terms of the yards per route run, but the numbers against zone weren't too shabby either. He does cross that 2 yards per route run threshold over his career as well. So what do we see with Kyle Williams on film? Well, let's check him out. All right, guys, here we go into the film room taking a look at Kyle Williams. We're going to start with the release package. I think he has a deep bag of releases, can vary up his tempo really nicely too. And so we'll start with this. You'll see him kind of gain some ground here and get into that split and then accelerate while avoiding contact. And I think that's something he does at a really, really high level. Here, again, just that ability to kind of shake at the top of that release is what gives him that avenue for separation. And here, just it's a little, I know it's a little tricky to see, but the footwork is outstanding. And because he's leaning with his head and shoulders, as kind of some deception work off that plant foot, he gets some early leverage and early separation in his routes. Here, the corner's coming on the blitz, but he's going for the two-hand jam and just great contact avoidance there by Kyle Williams. Here, again, working through that jam and press coverage, not really disrupting his route. So, he's super sudden. You get into some of these shuffle releases where he can create some immediate separation as well. And just also the pressure that he can put on, right, to kind of get corners stumbling and maybe worried a little bit about him working vertically down the field, and you'll kind of see that here. That's a little too many steps for my liking, but you see him have that acceleration to kind of potentially catch up in terms of, the rhythm and timing of routes. And then here, this is a wicked quick square from him and then just run by the defender. And yes, some of these aren't, passing plays per se. Some of them are RPOs, right? But to keep throwing different release moves at these guys, I think is really important. And so, what can he do in terms of an explosive playmaker? You see him stacked on the field and then track the football in. He does this at a high level. And you see him down here, right, turning over the shoulder, trusting the athleticism, run under the football. I really like how he tracks it. And here, pretty good release, and then, again, works to stack, show off some late hands at the catch point. I know it's a little tougher to see, but you'll kind of see it here where he's in good position at the catch point, right? He's given himself some space, and then just as the ball arrives, you put the hands out and make the catch. And the acceleration is real. He can run past guys, runs past Hunter here for an easy touchdown. Teams have to respect it. Here he eats up a ton of cushion and also kind of hits a second gear later in the stem where you kind of have to be a little worried at times and kind of almost be ready to turn and run at a moment's notice. And here, kind of stemming at the defender and then accelerate. Because he stemmed at the defender, he gave himself a ton of space to operate, working to the end zone, which is huge. And then when you have that ability to win down the field, right, and you show good body language with the head and shoulders down, it's going to open up underneath stuff. And he's good and fluid with the route break transitions on top of it, to where, again, that pressure immediately is going to give him a ton of wins on these quick outs. Right here, stem at the defender and just quickly plant the foot. He's really good in that transitional moments, whether it be in the route stem or at the top of routes. Again, a good hinge route here, quick in and out of that break and on time. Good release footwork here on the slant route, crosses the face of the defender, and then survives some contact at the catch point. Really impressive there. And then you see how sudden he can be through that break. It's really, really impressive, right? 1, 2, 3, and we're out of there, on some of these in breakers. Here, I think, is a really good job of outside stem, but look at the hip sync. Look at the ability to change direction quickly on that in breaker. It's so good. And a little bit of late pressure here to kind of open up the middle of the field for him, which I get really impressed by. And then this one's obviously, what I really want to see from guys, especially against off coverage, right? Stem to the inside, sudden at the release point, and efficient at the release point and create separation. Just to be able to attack leverage like that on in and out breaking routes, I think it is so crucial. And here, a little bit of slow play, but you can see that suddenness to cross the face of the defender to win over the middle of the field. And I think another thing that he does really well is he'll attack blind spots, right, where he'll pressure vertically, and as soon as the corner is kind of has his back turned, right, sit down and win on some of these routes. And he does it on numerous occasions. Here again, just sink the hips, gives himself a ton of space to work with. And he does throw some rocker steps in there, which I like at the top of routes, as long as it doesn't disrupt rhythm and he's urgent enough in the stem. These are going to be really devastating as well. And I think if he plays with a little more urgency too, like that, I think rather than sort of slow playing the rocker steps, I think is going to, again, create more separation for him on in and out breaking routes in the intermediate area of the field. Here, love the coordination, right? Good extension at the catch point to make that play. Really like that. And then you've kind of seen some of the acceleration already, but if you're going to give him so much space to operate, the screen game is going to be beneficial, right? Look at the speed on the curvilinear track, just running away from guys. Really impressive here. And then this one, as soon as he lands, explode off that foot. That is some rare acceleration right there. And here, catch through contact, but then once, the defender falls off of him, it's accelerate, nobody's going to catch me. So that 4.4 speed is real. No question about it. Here, again, a curl route. And then the suddenness that he shows in the release game and at the break point can show up there after the catch to make that first man miss in space. Really like the catch to attack transition. He's already got that plant foot down, ready to attack. The receiver to runner transition is super good. And then, just bounce off some arm tackles, of course, for, 25, 30 more yards. Same thing here. Look at the foot in the ground as he catches that ball. And if you saw something, you're like, didn't look super coordinated catching that. I think that's the biggest concern for me is he claps. His hands are a little wide when he's catching the football, and that can lead to some issues. And the drop percentages, in 2024, it wasn't too bad. I think for most of his years, it hasn't been too bad, but you see some of that clap attacking. You almost see the arms open up, and you see here kind of a double clutch where he almost loses this a little bit here, and that is my concern. He almost has to kind of regain better control of the football, and this is where it comes into play on plays like this. Great job elevating, but he double catches this. And why does he double catch it? Look at how wide the hands are, and look at how he kind of claps into almost an X there as he kind of, his hands kind of go through the football. That's just not a position you want to put yourself in. So the hand technique is something that has to get better. But I really like what Kyle Williams brings to the table, right? The rare acceleration, the suddenness, the very efficient through break transitions, all of the kind of advanced stuff you want to see from a receiver, attacking leverage, attacking blind spots. Throw those rocker steps in there, change your pace at the line of scrimmage and in the stem. All of that is really impressive for Kyle Williams. And so I think he will be a guy who teams should be looking at the start of round 2 in the 2025 NFL draft. So hope you guys enjoyed this video on Kyle Williams. If you're seeing this before the draft or during, I'll be live Thursday and Friday night. So hope to see you tune in for that. But I'll catch you guys really on the live stream or in some post-draft breakdowns. So farewell, everyone.